Catastrophic damage from Australia floods. Australia's record floods are causing catastrophic damage to infrastructure in the state of Queensland and have forced 75% of its coal mines, which fuel Asia's steel mills, to grind to a halt. The worst flooding in decades has affected an area the size of Germany and France, left towns virtual islands in a muddy inland sea, devastated crops, cut major rail and road links to coal ports, slashed exports, and forced up world coal prices. At least 1,200 homes in Queensland have been flooded, with another 10,700 suffering some damage. Queensland Premier Anna Bligh has said at least 22 towns have been cut off. Some 200,000 people have been affected by the deluge. What I'm seeing in every community I visit is heartbreak, devastation, Bligh said. This is a disaster of an unprecedented scale, and it will require an unparalleled rebuilding effort, she told reporters in Brisbane. Bligh told Australian Broadcasting Corporation Radio that the water had caused catastrophic damage to Queensland's transport systems. The state is the world's biggest exporter of coal used in steelmaking. Queensland is a very big state. It relies on the lifelines of its transport system, and those transport systems in some cases are facing catastrophic damage, Bligh said, and she stressed the economic effects would not be restricted to Queensland. 75% of our mines are currently not operating because of this massive flood, so that's a massive impact on the international markets and the international manufacture of steel, Bligh told local television. Analysts have forecast that the flood disaster will cut just over $5 billion off Australia's annual output of $1.3 trillion. Wettest year on record. The floods have been caused by a La Nina weather pattern, which produces monsoonal rains over the western Pacific and Southeast Asia. The La Nina saw Australia record its third wettest year on record in 2010 and is expected to last another 3 months, the nation's Weather Bureau has said. Australia's Bureau of Meteorology has reported that Queensland's exceptional weather has seen the state's average rainfall rise to nearly double that of a normal year, making it the wettest year on record, the Sydney Morning Herald reported. Every month from August to December ranked in the respective top tens of monthly rainfall, the newspaper added. Residents in flooded towns worked desperately to build sandbag levees in the hope of holding back even more rising waters. In the cattle town of Rockhampton, where the Fitzroy River has already swamped at least 200 homes and 100 businesses, a rise of just 8 inches in floodwaters would inundate another 400 homes and lap at the front door of a further 4,000 properties. Rockhampton residents have also reported seeing higher than usual numbers of snakes. Saltwater crocodiles were another worry for people entering floodwaters, as the predators have been spotted from time to time in the Fitzroy River. There's a lot of snakes, a whole lot of snakes, Rockhampton resident Shane Muirhead told Australian Broadcasting Corporation. Like every 100 yards, you will see a snake, and they're just everywhere. More rain worsens floods in Australia, and now almost a foot of rain in just a few hours has renewed flood fears in Australia's already waterlogged Queensland state on Saturday, sending a surging river over its banks and into another large town. Officials said about only 20 buildings in Maryborough, where about 22,000 people live, were expected to be flooded after the river burst its banks in the overnight downpour. The waters were expected to peak on Sunday. A number of businesses will have floodwaters in their basements, Mayor Mick Kruger said. But the new flooding was a reminder that the state has almost no capacity to absorb more heavy rains after weeks and weeks of drenching tropical weather submerged an area the size of Germany and France combined. 10 people have died since late November. And yes, at least 200,000 have been affected by the floods. Roads and rail lines have been cut. Queensland's big exporting coal industry has virtually shut down, and cattle ranching and farming across a large part of the state are at a standstill. While new rain is causing problems in some parts of the state, officials say a massive relief operation has moved from emergency operations to recovery as the city of Rockhampton and other towns wait for waters to drop, and dozens of others begin the mopping up of sludge. Australia's Prime Minister flew Saturday to several towns cut off by floodwaters or partially underwater, and sought to reassure residents their towns would be restored in an operation led by an Army general who said it might take years to fix all the damaged roads, rail lines, and bridges. Until we see these floodwaters recede, we won't see the true extent of the damage. Floodwaters draining east toward the ocean were still rising in some places, such as St. George, where approximately 2,500 residents are bracing for the second major floods in less than a year. Australia's worst flooding in some 50 years was caused by tropical rains that fell for days, starting just before Christmas. Again, at least 1,200 homes were flooded, and almost 11,000 more have water damage. Nearly 4,000 people were evacuated, and many are still staying with friends or in relief shelters. And yes, this was a massive, unprecedented flood, and some say it was of biblical proportions. And again, these are more signs of the times, the end times, transition days, which is continuing. And it is a process. In other words, everything that must change quickly or rapidly, and for the better, in some kind of way. Malachi chapter 4. For behold, the day comes, thou shalt burn as an oven, and all the proud, yes, and all that do wickedly, shall be stubble. And the day that comes shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, but it shall leave them neither root nor branch. 2. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth, and grow up as calves of the stall. 3. And ye shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet, in the day that I shall do this, saith the Lord of hosts. 4. Remember ye the law of Moses my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb, for all Israel, with the statutes and judgments. 5. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. 6. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. Luke chapter 21, verse 19. In your patience possess ye your souls. 20. And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is near. 21. And let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. 22. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. 23. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give nurse in those days. There shall be great distress in the earth, and wrath upon this people. 24. They shall fall by the edge of the sword and the weapon, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. 25. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. 26. Humans' hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. 27. Then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. 28. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draws near. And yes, again, it's time for all prophecy to be fulfilled. This is the time when the past, the present, and the future catch up to one another, or when they come together. And yes, it's time. And there are many kinds of signs happening day by day all around the world. Everything is numbered, and everything is connected.